With the absolute mess that we had to sit through this Friday, I thought it was only justified that I speak to you about alternatives that you can see this weekend that will definitely account for pleasant experiences at the movies versus the long lasting headache that was caused by a supposed magnum opus turned bootleg cartoon. I first went in with absolutely no expectations for The Flash starring the controversial Ezra Miller as Barry Allen. This project has been in a creative limbo for years, and those who have followed the actor's life, you know it's been more than just dramatic. I mean, people are still questioning why the hell he is running scot-free and on the red carpet for the plethora of shady activities that have surfaced, and it also put me in two minds about something. And I would love to know your thoughts about the same. The debate about separating the artist from the art. Are you of the notion that a movie should be judged for its own creative merits irrespective of who is associated with it, or do you stand by simply not wanting to support a film if it has an actor who you think is a terrible human? I would love to know your thoughts about the same. The Flash is the last of the DC movies before James Gunn takes over, integrates his vision, and there is a total revamp of the talent involved, barring a few. The movie pays specific attention to the Flashpoint series, where changes come about in the timeline after Flash goes back in time to save his mother. How this leads to the existence of two Barry Allens in the same timeline, and the impending attack of General Zod leads to the Flash formulating a team consisting of the likes of the Batman and Supergirl so that there is some semblance in the cracks he has already caused. Is it already too late? Is the damage already done? This is the core focus of The Flash, and while I was worried about what was the point of being invested at all in this story when there is going to be a total revamp in the future, I quickly also realized that there are remnants of several facets of this storyline that will carry on as the DC stories progress. After a very long time, I was genuinely laughing at the quips and punchlines in a superhero movie. Barring the physical comedy that bordered on being straight out of Dumb and Dumber, there was a dispersion of the comedic moments while still giving respect to the gravity of the situation Barry had caused. This is true for the very first action scene as Flash saves several babies from a falling building while being mindful of the calories he has to intake. The hilarious situation on the bridge as a few superheroes meet and one feels vulnerable to speak the truth generated the most laughter. You can infer what superhero and moment I'm talking about. Another great moment was just the shift of all pop culture references in the new timeline to the shock of Barry. I think there is a point that Jeremy Jahns brought up, and it is so true for this film that you really feel the speed of Barry Allen, and the standout is the inventive visualization of when he finds himself in a speed force and the trickling impact it has on the universe. I thought the two Barrys interacting with one another worked wonders. While the movie in its own dialogues defines the young Barry as abrasive and exhausting, it did in some moments border on being a little too on the nose, almost corny and loud to the point of being performative. As one finds their bearings in the new timeline, everyone was waiting for the iconic Michael Keaton moment, and it did work so well. It was integrated so well in the screenplay, and it provided the right balance of contributing to the story while still presenting an homage to Tim Burton's rendition and who people consider to be the GOAT among Batmans. That's also a good discussion, by the way, among fans in the comments. Who do you think is the GOAT among Batmans across history? This will really turn out to become a war in the comment section. I felt at a time where cameos have almost become low-hanging fruit in superhero movies, The Flash actually did a good job with its cameos, including Supergirl as well. The biggest hindrance, however, has to be the poor CGI in several of its battle sequences, which many people wondered would get enhanced after preview screenings, but it's exactly the same, and it really is cartoonish in several moments. Despite several of its issues, I really felt the core, which was the emotional longing and bond Barry has with his mother, translated, and creative ways in which they played around with the Speed Force and the inevitable reality one has to accept with timelines really concluded in a holistic manner. While the post-credit scene is kind of an abrupt bummer because it's all in the air of what's going to happen later, I actually quite enjoyed The Flash, a movie that will at least entertain you throughout. The second film, of course, that I saw this weekend for the second time was Extraction 2. I once saw it on the big screen at a preview event and then saw it on Netflix this weekend. And I have to say that Sam Hargrave really has aced unapologetic action. The first installment provided us a ride where one is just blasted with one exquisitely choreographed set piece after the other. The action was seamless, the choreography was intricate, and the only gripe that most film fans had was that it was emotionally stagnant. A mission that leads to Tyler Rake almost being dead, he is revived and is living the simple life as he recovers in his cabin with his pet dog. A mission comes his way and there is a personal attachment to the rescue operation, something that gets unraveled as the screenplay progresses. The film becomes an attempt for Sam to not only provide an unapologetic action film, but also provide a slight glimpse of the emotional core of Tyler Rake. I absolutely loved that the film shows us a glimpse of the nature of the antagonist we had to deal with. You know, he means business and he has an entire militia behind him if needed. There was one moment as Tyler is getting back to his prime shape where it straight looked like a montage from Rocky IV. I wonder whether that was a self-aware homage or not. You can probably fault the emotional beats of the second part that actually halts the proceedings, something that simply did not exist with the first installment, but my god, can you not fault the action of part 2? The prison break leads to absolute carnage and an action scene that can be best described as organized chaos, reflective of such a flawless choreography and setting the ball rolling in careful anticipation for the viewer of how crazy can that 21-minute oneer be. Trust me, the only adjective I can describe it as is insane. It's just the right use of practical effects that leads to the train sequence to be one of the most badass action set pieces you will see. I actually would have loved for Extraction 2 to have a limited theatrical release because trust me, seeing that oneer on the big screen was an absolute feast for the eyes. I feel like the film, however, suffers from becoming slightly generic when exploring the familial conflict of the antagonist, their origin story, and the dilemma that arises in the son of the woman who is rescued. This acts like a constant hindrance in the film because the sole job in a movie that has two factions is that one element that can go either way is ready to sabotage everything. It was a little tough for me to get fully invested in the origin story of the antagonist. While most of the action sequences are seamless, there is only one moment where I felt Chris Hemsworth's inner Salman Khan kicked in, where he literally, while hanging with one arm, swings Nick through a building. That was a bit much and quite distant from the otherwise grounded action. What I also love about the practical nature of the action scenes in Extraction is that it makes use of its surroundings. So whether it's nails and hammers, axes, or even a bloody treadmill, Tyler makes use of it and it translates so well in the points of impact in the film that it actually seems like a no-holds-barred WWE match in several moments. The prison break, the train sequence, and the escape from the building are the three core moments that stand out as unapologetic action moments. I would have actually loved for the antagonist to stick to his ruthless ways as he was introduced, rather than constantly stall the scenes with his dialogues like an old school villain waiting for the hero to strike. But for action film fans, it really does translate so well as an under 2-hour extravaganza that again solidifies that action directors like Sam Hargrave and Chad Stahelski really understand the assignment of what action film fans want to see in movies. I think I'm on the same boat of preferring the grittiness and raw nature of the first part over this. It doesn't, however, take away from Extraction 2 being a wild ride as well, just this time with a few bumps and cracks along the way. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about The Flash and Extraction 2. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.